Welcome all, myself Pradeep Nalwal, and today I'm going to have a discussion with Monika. Monika has 5.5-year experience in QA automation profile, in manual testing as well. And recently she has given an interview in a MNC company, and now she wants to share her experience with us. So I request please watch this video till the end, and at the end of this video, you will learn that at the time of giving the interview, what type of question can be asked and how you should give the answer. In this video, I will not only discuss the question, I will also discuss about the answers. Okay, so let's start.
It is like for the SBC client, and it was a client interview round. And there, when I have given the introduction of about myself, what I have in my experience, that I have mentioned in my experience, I have worked 5.3 years in automation testing, and out of which 2 years, in 5.3 is in software testing, 2 years in automation. And I have knowledge on working with like Selenium with Java for web application automation, along with Git we were using as a repository for code, like code committing the code. And this was my answer. Along with I have mentioned all the types of testings which I did, and Android and iOS too. So it was like they started, after going through my CV, they started with the Git itself, as I mentioned Git. So they asked me what are the codes which you will, what are the command which you will be using for like code merge. This is one of the question. So code merge they were asking, and then they ask code merge, and that time I explicitly said that code merge is from the reviewer end. When we push, our end is just making the changes, committing the code, and we'll push the code. But code merge will we ask our supervisor, or code we send a PR request. So they used to do merge. We don't do like that. This was my answer, and they were not satisfied. So it was one, they asked code, how do you do code merge to command prompt? How you do the, like, if there is something you want to revert back to the previous state, what you will do in Git, that command. Then what are the, if you want to check all the commit history, what will be the command? If you want to commit with how you will commit your code. So that time it was I said git commit. So they said no, there was some more thing. So then I said git commit, and then I have typed explicitly, they asked me to type the syntax. So I did git commit in double quotes. I have written my commit message. So it was wrong. It was git commit -m, then they explained. So this was there. Then they even asked me how you create a branch at first, and then the flow, how it works in your project, how the flow works in your project, how you start making the feature file or whatever in your local, how you start doing when at first time you are having the idea, at first time you are using Git. This was the question. And then it was code, how you will push the code, that is there. Then if there are we want to see all the, in which branch you are in, so what you will do, what is the code in order to check in which branch you are working. And then should I tell you the answers even along with that, or only a question will do, the set of questions?
Only question you can do. And if you're saying, you can tell me that what is your experience, that at that time you was feeling that he is not satisfied with the answer or not. You can tell me that.
I have said the answer, but he was not like that. So code, then he said about the how you will check the history. So at that time I said git status, and he was like, oh no, it's not like that. So he was not satisfied. Actually, he said, really, you worked on Git? I said that it was in the past when I worked using command prompt. Now we are using the Selenium ID to work Git push. So we don't use the Git command, but still he says, as it is a basic, if you have used, and then you should know these are the basic commands. So it was there. Then I think reverting back to the, they asked one more question, that how you will, whatever the changes you have made, commit, you want to revert back, how you will do. This was the question. And then yeah, status was there, and how you create a new branch, how you delete a branch. It was like deleting a branch. I was later on.
So mainly they bombard so many questions on the Git and GitHub, right?
Because I have mentioned I have used Git for code for pushing and all.
Yeah.
So, and then deleting a branch is there. So I said, I said maybe Git delete. So then they were like, they were not satisfied. So yeah. So this was there. And like I can say the client interview is really tough. I don't know why, but I have failed first time. That it is like a kind of things which they go in the root level and ask whatever is written in the CV. They were very specific about that. So then they asked what is the difference between Git and GitHub.
That is actually I thought that they are trying to dig the understanding of the Git and GitHub from you, that what is the your understanding and you are using. I understand that they are expecting so much in the detail, like what happens that especially I will say that Git is used using two things, like you can use the Git with Git command as well as Git GUI. Okay, so what happens that you for example, what happens that few things usually people prefer with the help of Git GUI. Like you can whenever you have an option to merge, right? So in thing of you can do the merging with the help of command also, but when you try to do the merge with the help of GUI means in the Git you have two options. You get the Git bash command prompt. Also, you got a UI for that. In UI, you can see so many things like in which branch you are committing, okay, and what is the version. For example, you told me that they are asking that can you check the history. Okay, so in the history they are expecting that you should tell that you are not only the person who is committing in the GitHub. Okay, are you getting my point? Means you are working in a team. So Monica, you can say you are there. Suppose take the example, I'm there. So many people are there. So who is committing which content at which time? Are you getting my point? So this thing is actually called the, you can say, history. Whatever you are saying, that is called a status. A status means whatever you are doing with your files, like you are deleting some file from your local system, you are removing, you are modifying. This is called Git status. You are trying to check the status before the commit. Getting my point? And history means not only you, all the persons in your team which you are using the Git, what they are doing, what they are committing, at which time they have committed. And every time when anybody commits some code, there is a you can say a number is assigned to that commit. That is called commit number. You can say commit version. So in the future, suppose what happens that if you want to check that, okay, which person committed which code on which date and which time. Are you getting my point? So in that case, you can get the detail from that history. So history is actually something like that. It actually tracks the number of commits, who committed it, and by default, you will see when anybody will commit, a user ID that is assigned to that person, that will be reflected there. Day will be reflected here, time will be reflected there, and the same time there is a rule that whenever somebody commit anything, they should give some commit message. So that commit message is also displayed there. So these all information actually help you in tracking that whatever things were committed in your repository in the past. Are you getting my point? So this is expectation that.
So what's the command for that?
So you can say for usually what happens that whenever you want to see, usually people use the GUI part for that. Okay, because that is very very easy to, and you will see that's why GUI is introduced. You can do with the, you can say with the command prompt also, but that is not as much as good. Reason is that, take the example whenever you want to see, you can take the example whenever you want to make a merge. You can make a merge with the help of command prompt also. Okay, and there is a merge command for them. But the problem is that when you are merging means, what do you mean by merging? Means whenever you have changes some code in a file, and at the same time some other team members also make some changes in that code. So now finally you have to commit your code, means what code will be finally submitted to the Git part. Okay, GitHub. So in that case, what you have to view the changes, like what code lines that the person has written, what you have written, and finally which should go. Are you getting my point? On some cases, both the code should go. Sometime you have to override. So lots of possibilities are there. So you can't say that, okay, if you override the code, all your changes will go and the changes of the other person will be lost. So analyzing the code, that, okay, this line of code is here. Maybe he want to implement some other step or functionality in the code, and you want to add your own. So both codes should be there. So there are so in that case, actually GUI is very, very useful. So I think that the person can give the answer that merging part we do with the help of GUI. It is not a negative thing, and we can do with the help of, you can say, command prompt also. But the thing is that is little bit tough, and that is little bit risky. Are you getting my point?
Okay.
So GUI part, GUI. So you will see whenever you download the Git part, both the parts, you have the option to download, you can install both the same Git bash as well as Git GUI. So I think using the combination of these two, anybody can work easily on Git. If somebody will try to work using only the command prompt, he can, but it is little bit tough. You can think about that. Whenever you try to merge using the Git command, so you will at the time of merging, you have to compare the code. Okay, and that is not so much easy in case of. So GUI actually presents so many things in terms of UI. So UI is always a, you can say, easy way to interact with. So that's why anytime you can say few command, I always, you can say, most of the command I use with the help of command prompt, that is Git bash, or you can use your own command prompt also. But the merging part and history we can check easily from the, you can say, GUI. And that is the best way. That is the best way. Trust me, most of the person are using this thing. Okay, and we can't say that using GUI we cannot achieve it properly. Actually, we can achieve it more properly. Okay. Okay. Now the thing is,
switch was there. Switch between, if you want to switch between branch.
You can switch between branch. Simply you can say whenever you can say, for that there is also a command, you can say whenever you making any commit or you want to pull. Okay, so you can simply give the name of the branch. Before doing anything, you can give the name of the branch, automatically switch to that. By default, the control will on the master branch. Okay, so you can create the branch before running any command. You have an option that you can switch to that branch. Okay, so many things are there, but I'm expecting that how much total, how much experience you have?
5.3 years experience. So in
the 5.3 experience, if they are digging so much in terms of merge, that is, I'm not saying that it is not you can say they should not ask, but in the detail, nobody use so many things in terms of you can say automation. Then the development, so many challenges are there, because they sometimes they have to release some code, they have to keep some code for the future, so they work on different branches. Okay, they just develop the code, but they don't release it. So I expect that is thing, but yeah, if a person can learn, that will be good. Okay, so
I have worked, actually it's not an issue. I have worked in my product based company, so it was there where we used to do using command, and it was there. But at the point I was not expected, because from last 2 years when I am giving the interviews, so I didn't find anybody asking in that respect how you will do. I think that was hard reset. When we see merge was also remembered by me. It was like something when we compare the code in the ID itself, and we accept the incoming one if it is correct, and there is something using the Visual Studio we did, or using the within the ID itself, when we compare the code, incoming data we accept, or we just push our merge. Put our code, there is an add and minus sign is there when there is a merge conflict. That time we used to do in the ID itself.
Yes, but, merge conflict. in merge config, that's why I'm saying that when is a merge config, and when you go to UI, they have a beautiful option. They have a plus, minus, something like that. So it means what things you want to consider from the other side, that okay, I want to include this thing, I don't want to include this thing. That things can be easily, you can say, handled with the help of GUI. Okay, but yeah, understand.
But
I overall,
I think that they asked about how you will merge the code, means how I will merge my code with that branch, that specific developed branch.
yeah. So that is develop run means what happens, that if you are going to you can think about in this phase, you have somebody has worked on a file abc.java. They have committed on that, you can say Git. Now you have also worked on the same file. Okay, and when you have worked on the same file, now you are going to commit. So somebody has committed the code and you are going to commit. So what happens, that when you are going to make some changes, what happens, at means you can say in the abc.java line number 7, they have made some changes, and you have also made some changes at line number 7, right? So it is called a conflict. Conflict means both have you can say modified the code in the same line. So now you have to consider that both lines should be the part of code, or one line should be removed. Are you getting my point? So in this case, actually you have to choose plus. Minus means, plus means you are going to add, means before committing your code, you are including the code of the other person in your, that is called means plus. Okay, minus means you are committing the code, but you are not saying that that code, whatever the person has written, that is not needed, so you want to remove that. Okay, so at the time of merging, you have to, you can say, it is the major critical part of the commit. Okay, because whenever you have done something work on your side, you can simply commit, but you have done some work and anybody else also work on the same code, so you have to make sure that maybe the changes done by the other person, that are also important. So if GUI is there, you can easily see the code. Easily you can see the code. Okay, this line of code is maybe doing something steps in the automation. I have also included my steps. So I think that part is good. Okay, so I will suggest that focus on the GUI part also. And if you have time, then you can focus on the command prompt. But first of all, GUI, focus on the GUI part, because that is mostly used, especially for merge. Okay, and what is your other experience in terms of other things they have asked in Selenium? What type of question they asked in Selenium?
First, they asked me that how you rate yourself in Java and Selenium. So both, as it was a client, so I was asked that I cannot give, if they are asking 5, so I need to give something moderate or below than 50. So out of 5, I gave myself 3 and 3.5, like 3.5 in Java and 3 in 3 in Java and 3.5 in Selenium. So they started with the questions. Means they were not confined to like some specific, just answering the question. They want to learn more on that. So it was something which is, they asked, okay, so have you used constructor? So do you have a concept? So I was happy and I was saying, okay, yeah, constructor. When we use constructor, new, like we create new objects using the concept of constructor, and it is having a same name. Okay, I say the use of constructor. Why you use constructor? I'm not asking what is constructor.
Why use constructor?
So, okay, and when it is cleared, then they are saying that, okay, so can you overload constructor? Can you override? Overload or override, or you can do both. This was the thing. Then can you make constructor as static, final, means everything, private, final, static, whatever available in the terms of Java, they are relating all with those. Then if I give, okay, use of constructor, then have you used constructor in your project? So it was a thing. Then they came up with another thing. So when they are asking questions like what is are you aware of final keyword in Java? I was, okay, I'm good. So I said, okay, final. So final, with final keyword, if we define any variable, so its value is constant, it's not changed, right? We can, okay. So if you are okay with that statement, so I'll share you one code. So they shared one set of code right over there, and I'm also having, if I can share you the same. So I'll how I will share over here, or if you want, I'll show. So it was
you can share me on WhatsApp. I will just capture.
yeah, you just open.
Okay, you can share me. We can discuss on that later.
Okay. So it was something which I can say, and you can even bring it up. Maybe it's later or not. So it was like something which is like a code snippet were there. As I said, final. So the definition of final. Then he said that in final, sorry, final in I is equal to 20. Then there was another thing which is j is equal to 20, and then it was I is equal to I plus j. So what is the output of I and j? Like C show, like sorry, C system.out.print they have written, and it was like plus plus I, then plus plus j. What is the value of I and j? So with using the final is there. So I started doing that. So as I have said the statement that final is some keyword which is having a constant value. So it is having already 20, then it cannot be changed. So I said the value of that I will be like 20 and j will be 40. They said it's wrong.
Okay.
It's wrong. It will show I think a compile time error. This was there. Then when I say no, they asked before that. They asked, "Are you sure about the answer?" You look bit confused like that. So I said maybe 40, but it's constant. So when you is it 20? It's 40. So I said, yeah, I think I is equal to I plus j. It can be 40. So are you sure? It's a static. You only said that it's a final, and now you are saying it's not.
Yeah,
So what is that?
yeah,
So I said
yeah, actually, what happens that few times they try to confuse the person, and people get confused. You can simply say, you can for this example, whenever you have taken any variable final. Okay, take the example, you have in a variable I is final, that is int and final and equal to 20, something like that. So now it means in the whole program you cannot change the value. Getting my point? It doesn't mean that you are changing the value with the help of some post increment or with the help of simple expression. Like you can change the value, like you want to increase the value, you can write I equal to I plus 1. Getting my point? I equal to I plus 1. That I cannot write. Reason is that I is already a final. Yes or no? So I cannot change the value throughout the program. Second, he can write the program, or you can say in the program, he can write the same expression, I plus plus. Again, think about that. Expression doesn't mean that you can say you can forget the rule of the final. If you are writing I plus plus, still you want to increment the value of I by 1. So it will be a compilation error. You can't change the value. So they will try to confuse simply. When there is something final, I have shown in the program also, whenever you have something final, you cannot change the value. If you try to change the value, it will give compilation error.
that's what I would say.
And what we do, we try to confuse. Acha, if we will write I equal to I plus 1, okay, in place of that I will write I plus plus. So oh, it means when I'm going to write I plus plus, maybe there will be some solution and at least we will get the printing statement. No, rule is always same. You are trying to achieve I plus plus or I equal to I plus 1, both are same. And if you are trying to change any final value, that will be the compilation error. Getting my point?
Same
And
with the static keyword. They ask. Same with the static keyword. They ask that if you are having a what is static. So I said
yeah, you said
yes. I said the same answers which we like using static keyword. When we use static, when we make anything as static, so without creating the object, we can call those. This I said, and then they again said shared the code snippet with the static, and then they asked question, what is the output of this?
Same thing as that. Anytime they are going to ask any output, only you have to keep in mind static means shared.
Well, output, yeah.
Static means shared. If you have, let's take the example, if you have a variable I is static. Okay, if I is static and you have a value, initial value is 5, and using any other object. You are creating the object of that class and you are changing the value from that value to suppose 7. Okay, so because that value is static, so this updated value will be reflected for each and every object. If third object will try to read the value, he will get the updated value.
So if I same thing, if instead of final, if we I'm just asking, so instead of final, which we have static int I is equal to 5, like this we can do
int static. Yeah, you are writing in when you are using you can think about the static and final are two keywords. They have their own meaning. Static means shared, final means you can't change it. So when you are using static, it means the variable is only shared. When you are using final, it means the value cannot be changed. When you are using both the things, static and final, in the same variable, it means the value is shared as well as nobody can change.
So we can make a statement final static in that.
Yes,
like
we
that.
can do. So it is something like, so this is also known as whenever you are using static as well as you are using the final, it is called class constant. Okay, and whenever you are using final in the variable without using the static, it is called simple constant, or you can say object constant. Are you getting my point? Because final means nobody can change it, that is a constant. And when static keyword is defined, and static means it is declared at the class level. So when anything is declared at the class level, that variable is known as class constant when you are using final keyword than that. Okay, so they will try to confuse, but the thing is that you should be stick on that. Okay, what else they have asked from the Selenium?
They asked reverse of a string.
Reverse of a string.
They have given hello, welcome to HSBC, and just reverse the string. So this was one of the question code.
Okay, so you have to write a code on a some white paper, or you have to write
notepad. Notepad. I need to share my screen, and I need to then after writing those, they also asked about how it works. Okay, I need to explain how it how it works, how the reverse is happening in this, and is there any other method? So I have done taking the loop without using string reverse function. So I have done using that. So they asked if there are some other methods where you can do. So this was there. One more code was there. That was there was some syntax they have sent. Hello something. Hello, welcome. Hello in double quotes. Hello. Then at the rate. Exclamation, welcome to the world, then again some characters, and then double quotes. Now they just asked this was an input, and output was to removing all those special characters.
Because you have to remove it,
and I need to write the code. So they shared the again I shared the screen, and I did it like I have taken the whole sentence into string s is equal to that, and then I did something s dot remove all the special characters was in first, and then with the backspace. This was the thing which I did, but in two statement I show. This was there, and then they even asked about something which is in strings itself, string buffer. First they ask why string is why what like string is like mutable. So in that if I say, then how the value like then what is the purpose of that when it cannot be changed, something like that. So they ask about that. So I said that string is immutable or immutable, this thing they asked. So I said mutable means it cannot be changed, it's a constant.
So you are sure string is mutable or immutable? I have a particular video for this in the channel.
Yes. So they asked on that, and then like why it's like there, and then something about the string buffer itself.
So now that is important, that string is mutable or not. The reason is that string is not mutable. It is string is immutable.
Immutable.
Yes,
That value cannot be changed.
yes, whenever you try to modify any value in the string, actually behind the scene it creates a new object. So whenever you are using the string, actually it will occupy the memory, it will create the object, maybe for short span of time, but it creates the every time it creates the new object. And that's why you, as you told me, that string buffer and string builder that comes into the picture, because both the things that is string buffer and builder, they are, you can say, mutable. Mutable means if you change the value will be changed in the actual object. It will not create the new object. So this thing should be clear. And this is, there is very beautiful video on the channel, you will see, and everything is explained clearly. Okay, so what I found that they were trying to ask some tricky things. They are not asking simple things, okay, like what is GitHub, what is merge, what is program. They are trying to understand.
They ask some more things even.
Yeah, yeah, you
sharing
can share
the screen, sharing the screen, going to a website, then it was finding the Xpath.
Okay, you have to. So that is good. So how when they ask you to find the Xpath, what you do, what you have done means how you find that. You simply use that inspect thing, right? Click inspect something.
Inspect and then backslash input. It was like something.
So what was the XPath code means? The tag which you used in the application that was that were really using the attributes like ID, name, something like that, or it was.
Can I wait, sir? Can hold on.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Hello. Yes.
Okay, we can continue.
Yeah. Yes. So that was the thing. I shared the screen, and it was they're asking. It was using contents keyword. I think one text I need to find, and then means I forgot the name of the site, but it was like something in the menu bar. News was there, and that time they asked using contents keyword, like it was there, and I have written the wrong format. So they said, is it right or not? So that was there.
Okay, means you have to write a XPath where you have to use the contains, and in the contains, actually the contains
text.
two parameters. Yeah, two parameters. One, which in which thing you want to use the contains, like attribute, something like that, and what you are expecting to contain the actual text. Okay, so
yeah. Sir, and interface and abstract. They ask abstraction even. They ask abstraction even. And I said abstraction in Java is like showing the necessary details, hiding the background details. This was there. Again with that, again a new catch. So why we use abstraction? So how you will implement, how you make use of abstraction? What you will do, what kind of things we can do in my framework? Abstract and interfaces, same thing. If definition won't work out.
Definitely. No, that is
understanding is like it's not like if we say what is it, so it is not how we can make the use of it. So this is very important. So interfaces and abstraction, how we can make objects using interfaces or abstract class. This was again static final and non-final, static final and all. So
one beautiful question is always in the most of the interview, they ask that, can we put properties in the interface or not, properties or variables? So they usually want to ask that. Actually, what happens by default, everything in interface is treated as a constant. If you try to give any property, like suppose take the example, there is an interface student and you are taking a property int ID. Okay, you are not giving final anywhere, right? But still by default it's treated as final. So every variable which is defined in a interface, that is treated as constant. So these type of questions they can ask maybe.
So yeah, so and then method overloading and writing also done, like using abstract and in interfaces. This is also possible.
Again, the thing is that whenever talking about the overloading and overriding, you can say both are, you can say a different thing.
Sir,
Overloading, when
sir,
we talk,
yeah.
when we talk about overloading is actually not related to the inheritance. Okay, overloading
Yes,
is not,
yes.
because
Mm.
overloading always take place in the same class. In the same class, when you want to keep multiple methods with the same name,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then there are some rules. On the basis of that rules, you can keep multiple functions with the same name in the same class, and this is called overloading. So basically there should be difference in terms of number of parameters, type of parameters, or the sequence. This matter. Overriding is the some other thing that is actually take place in case of inheritance. It means when you have a class and you have another class which is actually the child of the first class, then what happens that if you have a method in the main class, you can change the definition means you can change the body of that class, body of that function in the child class, and that is called overriding. So in
Overriding.
overriding, and in case of overriding, what is must, the signature should be same. Like in
Signature
case,
method name
yeah,
should be same.
method name, not only method name and parameter, type of parameter, everything should be same. That is the
Okay.
main difference between the overloading and overriding. In overloading, there should be difference in number of parameters, type of parameter, or sequence. And in overriding, everything should be same. Only you can change the body part. That's why it is called override.
So in abstract and interface, how it is, like it can be done in
Actually,
interface or abstract class?
yeah, you can do it. Simply the thing is that whenever you are making suppose there is a parent abstract class, okay, and there is a child, you are going to create a child of that abstract class.
Sir,
So
in single word, if we want to define, just say like in abstract and interface, how you will define, and then how you will relate with overloading and override. That single statement, if you can say. Not.
so yeah, simple thing is that actually same rule is applied with which whatever rule is applied with the class, same rule is applied with the abstract class and interface. Okay, so what happens that whenever, suppose take the example, I will take one by one. You have an abstract class and you have a function. So in what is the flexibility of the abstract class? You can keep the abstract function as well as non-abstract function. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so now whenever you will try to create a child of this class, in the child class you have only one condition: all the abstract method you have to override. Must, you have to override. But if there are non-abstract function, you don't need to override. It is your choice that you want to override or not. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? Abstract means the function which do not have any body, and non-abstract means which have a body. So in the child class, it is mandatory. Compiler will compel you to override the abstract method. Now
So
for the
if they
non-abstract method,
override, then implementation is going to happen.
yes, override means you have to implement it. Okay, but in the abstract class, the functions which are actually non-abstract, in the child class, you are not compelled to override. It's your
Okay.
choice.
Yeah.
But in the interface, everything will be override, because the thing is that in interface, the condition is that all the methods are by default abstract. In the interface, by default, you keep all the
Yes,
methods.
yes, sir. Yes.
So it means whenever anybody will try to inherit the abstract interface thing, he has to override each and everything, because every function is by default abstract.
Okay.
Getting my point?
Yes. Sir.
So this is the main difference, that
Overload is not happening in both.
Overloading, if you want to keep overloading, same thing is that, suppose take the example in case of you can say interface, as well as in case of abstract class. If you declare a function, if you declare an abstract function with different set of parameters, this is overloading. Are you getting my point?
Okay.
Overloading, simply you have to only stick with the understanding that overloading means in the same class you can keep multiple functions with the same name. So in the abstract class, suppose you have addition method. One addition method is taking two parameters, integer and integer.
The abstract some method name add with two integer.
Yes.
Two integer as a parameter. Again, we can keep another.
Yeah, again keep, but that will be declared. Only the declared will be, right? So you can keep that. Abstract method means only the declaration part is there. Okay, and non-abstract means declaration as well as implementation. Body part will be there.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, and what else they ask from the Selenium?
Selenium, that yeah, this is from
Xpath.
the Java. Yeah, yeah. And Xpath was there. Then the assertions I mentioned TestNG. So whatever I have mentioned, so they want to know that I need to know the deep level about that. I need
Deep
to
level.
deep. So so they ask many questions from TestNG. So assertions, they ask assertions in TestNG, and that time I was having something in mind, that annotations. So no, I asked about assertions, how you do assertions in TestNG, what are the types of assertions in TestNG. So I was not very sure about that.
Okay,
Then
maybe.
also I have assert true and assert false. I have mentioned, but
Okay.
they were not satisfied.
Okay, usually what happens that people, they want to ask something that basically mainly two type of assertions are there, like hard assertions and soft assertions.
Yes, sir. This difference also they asked. Hard assertion and soft assertion. This was
so,
there.
so
Sir,
yeah,
please.
so basically the thing is that what happens that hard assertions means whenever there is an assertion you are applying, okay, and that is the by default assertion, assert equal. You have heard about different type of assert equal, comparing to booleans, comparing to integers, comparing. So what happens that when this is failed, when this assertion is failed, your rest of the execution will be stopped. Are you getting my? You will say that your rest of the test case will not proceed to the next step. It will just, you can say, terminate, something like that from that
Mhm.
point. Are you getting my?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So your test case will fail, but next step is also not executed. So now the drawback is that, suppose take the example, in your test case, you are using multiple level of validation, step 1 validation, step 2, and step 3. Maybe step 2 validation is not related to the step 1, but the step 1 is failed. So it is not going to validate step 2. Are you getting my point?
Hmm.
So the thing is that for you can take
Execution will
that.
stop.
But the thing is that I told you, step 2 validation is totally independent from the step 1. So maybe when the test case is running, step 1 is failed, step 1 validation is failed. At least you should execute the step 2 validation, 3 validation. Are you getting my point? So it
Yes,
should
sir.
be, so it is expected. So in case of soft assertion is going to help you. Soft assertion, what they do, they actually fail the test. They capture this information. Okay, if the validation is failed, I will mark the test case as failed, but they will not stop the execution of the next step. So that
So,
is,
so that I have read one difference was verify and assert. So assert is that when it stop, it will not execute, and verify is something which it fails, but even if it
yes.
continues.
So yeah, it is similar to that in
So what are
TestNG.
the types of assertions in
uh,
TestNG?
TestNG, basically you will see only, you can say basically in the broad level, two types of assertion are soft and hard. In soft assertion, I told you only the difference is that when you want to proceed with the, when there is validation fails but still you want to proceed, you should go with the soft, and when you don't want to proceed, you should go with the hard assertion. That is called assert equal simple.
And example, sir?
Example, you can say there is actually there is a class that is called soft assert, and whenever you are calling the functions from this class, they will be treated as a soft assertion. Example, you can say where you should use the soft assertion. I can give the example. For example, you are automating a login page. Okay, in the login page, suppose take the example, you are testing a scenario where username field should be editable, then only you can write some data on that, right? Username field should be will be editable, password field should be editable, and login button should be clickable. Now suppose you have to validate three conditions. Getting my point? And you are running your test case. Now at the first level, you validate that username field is not editable, so it will fail, validation will be failed. So now in the scenario, I think we should go with the password field also to check whether it is also editable or not, and then we will go to check, okay, login button is clickable or not. The reason is that in the final report, actually we can tell after executing the result that username field is not editable, but password button is editable, password field is editable, and the login button is also clickable. So now the thing is that if we fail the validation at username that it is not editable, so we will not going to validate the rest of the two things, that password field is editable or not, login button is clickable or not. So we will not able to you can say validate those things in the same test case. Again we have to, when we will resolve the error, then we have to again re-execute the test case, then it will go to validate that step. So at one step, this is the best scenario, that in one test case you should make validations, multiple step of validation. Every step you should try to make validate, and if any step is failed and there is no dependency, there is no dependency of that step in the next further steps, you should use the soft assertion.
What's the syntax?
Syntax, I told you, soft assertion is a class. You have to create the object of soft class, and using that reference, you will get all the functions, whatever function you have used in the hard assertion, same function you will get in it. Only when you are using it from soft assert class, the name of the class is soft assert. Using that class, when you create the reference, every function will be treated as a soft assertion. So you can say soft assert class is a implementation of the soft assertion.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and they ask you something from the SQL part also?
Yes, sir. SQL was there.
What they ask from the SQL?
So do I complete with the TestNG all the
questions? Yes, TestNG. Yeah.
So assertions was there, because I am just remembering the questions which they are asking. I just want to share. So parameterization they asked. So that a parallel execution they asked. They asked the syntax to write. If I say, okay, it's there at the rate like that. Okay, so so how you will do it? So this was there. Then grouping. Can you do grouping? Write the syntax. Listeners, are you aware of the listeners in TestNG? Yes. What are they? How? Why they are used? And can you give some examples? Can you give some examples what you used in your framework?
Okay. So here the thing is that, first of all, your question is that what is grouping? So grouping, I've already told. Maybe if you see the video that is available on, you can say my channel, they have described the concept of grouping also. Actually, the purpose of grouping is that, take the example that you are creating a whole automation as a regression shoe. Okay, for the regression. But sometimes you can see you can divide your test cases in some parts like sanity, smoke. Okay, so now the thing is sanity means you want to run only the some important test case. Okay, and that if the sanity is passed, then we should go with the regression. So how we have already written the test case, how we can tell that this test case is also should be the part of sanity as well as regression. So we mark a label on the test case, and that label is known as grouping. So now the thing is that when you mark grouping, there is a particular, you can say attribute is there, that is called groups. You define that in the attribute part of the test. At the test, then in the attribute you define the group, and then in the TestNG.xml you have a option. There is a tag that is called group. On the basis of that, you can tell which group you want to include and which group you want to exclude.
Parameterization.
Parameterization is something like that. What happens that whenever you create any test case in TestNG, by default it expects that you are not going to pass any parameter. Means your function, you can say bracket is blank. That is called simple test case. Okay. Now at the time of running in the TestNG test case, you want to pass some parameter. Okay. So suppose take the example. You are running a test case in which you want to take the example of login test case. In the login test case, you want to pass the parameter from the outside of the class. Are you getting my point? Because the thing is that, take the example, if you are writing in the login test case, a driver.find element username dot send keys, and in the send keys, if you will pass some hard-coded value, so hard-coded value you can directly write into the code. Okay, in the function you can write same, you can write password. But if you want to pass this value from outside the TestNG function, then first of all you have to make your function parameterized. Means you're in the function you will write two parameters will be there: string username and string password. This is called parameterization. But the thing is that how parameters are passed in this function, that is another thing. Are you getting my point? That you have make your function parameters. Means whenever in the TestNG you are making a function which is ready to take some parameter as a part of syntax, that is called parameterized function. How you pass the parameter in, that is another thing. How you can pass the parameter? So in TestNG.xml there is a tag that is called parameter, and where you can define two things: name of the parameter and the value. Right. So now you define the parameter and the value in the TestNG XML. How this value passes to that particular function, just before, above the name of the function, just above the declaration of the function, there is again a annotation is there that is called parameter. In that you can just define the name of the parameter which you are passing from TestNG.xml. So for that purpose also, you can do one thing. You can see that video. Maybe I have mentioned this thing. If that is mentioned, not mentioned in the video, you can ping me on that comment also of that channel, that video, that Pradeep, that is not mentioned in this video. So I'll try to make a video on that. Okay. So, but these are really beautiful questions of the TestNG.
Yeah. So listeners.
Yeah. So listeners, again, what happens that actually you can say few years back, listener was very much used. Reason is that basically we use the listener for creating for the purpose of creating a beautiful report. Okay, because what happens when you see the traditional
listeners for reporting only.
Yes, mainly the purpose. The reason is that your test case are executing, each and everything is there, but there was a problem that how you can track that how many test cases are passed, how test cases are failed. Are you getting the point? So these things, when you capture, you can modify a few other things related to the report. Like for example, if in the report you want to create a pie chart, are you getting what I mean? You want to create a pie chart. So pie chart for the for creating the pie chart at runtime, you need this information: total number of test cases, past number of test cases, and the failed test cases. Even you can include one more parameter that is called skip number of test cases. So if these type of information you will get it individually, then you can create the pie chart with the help of some coding effort. How you can get this information? That test case is passed, when the test case is passed, when the test case is failed, this thing. So this thing only achieved with the help of listeners. Okay, so listener is something like that. Listener means this is a class which actually when you implement in your framework, it keep listing your test cases. So there are so many you can say annotations are there, like on fail, on pass. So what happens that when your test case will be fail, automatically that listener will be called, and whatever you have written in that function, that listener function, that will be executed. So one more use of this thing is that the best, you can say, second after the reporting, the second beautiful use of this is called rerun. Okay, what is this rerun? Suppose take the example, you have executed a test case in one go, and you have 100 test cases, and out of 130 test cases were failed. Getting my point? And in the automation, you can think about, okay, I have created a very stable automation, then why 30 test cases were failed? So we can do one thing. If we try a rerun of these, again 30 test cases, maybe out of 30, maybe 10 or 20 maybe pass, if they were failed due to some other reason. Are you getting my point? Because there can be another reason, like for example, whenever those test cases were running at that time, the elements were not visible in particular time frame. Maybe the speed of the loading of application was slow, so maybe their test cases are failed at that time, but they are not actual failures. Okay, at that scenario, maybe some other scenario is that maybe when you are running the test case, your application was down, your server was down, so you will try to find element, so automatically you can say in your screen what you will do, server is down, something like that, 500 something like that. So at that time test is failing, that was not the actual reason, right? So when you want to try a rerun, after run you again want to try a rerun of failed test cases, you can implement the listeners also.
Listener for reporting and rerun.
For rerun also. Okay, for failed test cases and for reporting. That's why people do not now mostly do not use it. Reason is that we have got very beautiful third-party tools like Extend Report. Yeah, so you can see it captures the report. It provides so many things like it captures the pass fail. It captures the, you can say, you can include the screenshot also. It creates the chart also. Okay, it creates the filter also. It provides you the information that if still you have a need, you can more customize it without you making so much effort. So that's why you can say concept is listener is now only used in case of rerun. If somebody want to implement the rerun, they use the listener concept.
Example is, sir, I test listeners now. And one more thing was
so many listeners are also not, there is no only one listener. You can take the example of I test listener. There is some abstract, exactly I not remind, but abstract something like, so there are 4 or 5 listeners are there. What is your use? You can use it on the basis of that.
Okay, and so along with that, they also ask how you skip. I said that I'll take if there are failed test cases and you want to rerun. This question they have asked. And if you want to run some specific set of test cases, not all, what you will do. So I said what was my answer? I said that in my project I just comment out those, and with the remaining one I used to run. So this like are you, do you think it's a right approach? what what in general case you can do? So maybe I was not ignore, at the rate ignore I have learned, and at the rate skip was in title, but I'm not
Actually, you can say this question is little bit you can say confusing. Reason is that I don't know what they are expecting. But the thing is that whenever you write any test case, in the test case there is an attribute that is called enabled. Okay, so you can when
enabled.
enabled, you can make it enabled equal to true,
True
means
and
you want
false.
to include it. Okay, test case is still there. You don't need to comment it. When you make it enabled equal to true, it will run. Whenever you don't want to include in your run, you can make enabled equal to false. But the same thing is that you have to go with particular each and every test case and you have to update the value. Getting my point? So the thing is that now the why I'm saying that it is a little bit confusing. So the thing is that whenever we know that, okay, we want to run this particular set of test cases, maybe they are related to a particular module, they are related to a particular feature. In that case, grouping is the best option.
Yes, grouping is best.
Because the thing is that suppose take the example, you have 100 test cases, which out of 100 test cases, you have 10 test cases that are related to the suppose payment module. So you can make a grouping type that is called payment, and you will in each and every test case which is related to the payment, you will specify a group payment. Now whenever you want to run all the test cases related to the payment, you will simply do one thing: go to a TestNG XML and simply say include groups, include
exclude
payment.
and include.
Simply use payment. When you use payment, you don't need to go anywhere. Simply it will run the payment part. Okay, so this is the, you can say this is the strategy which should taken from the starting of the, you can say, project. Okay, we have to yeah, this is good practice that you can create a group on the basis of module features, because that is not going to give a negative impact. And at any point of time, suppose you want to run a payment module, you want to run a, you can say, reward module, so you can, on the basis of group, you have to simply do one thing: go in the group, you have to say include reward. You don't need to go a particular test case for that. But yeah, for a particular test case, maybe they want to ask this thing, that if you want to disable a particular test case, that is the bad approach to comment the code. Okay, instead of that, you should use enabled equal to false.
And if you want to what is run only the failed cases, that is concept of rerun.
That is the concept of rerun, and that is called the listener. Yeah, and that is why I'm telling that it will run automatically. If you want to run it by your own, that is another thing. But if you want to handle it with the help of automation, so you have to implement the listener, and in the listener automatically you have to, it will take care that failed test case will run again, rerun automatically. Because in the listener, you actually capture this information, how many test cases are failed. So it actually, in that case, actually, you know that it creates a, you will go and check your project. In your project, under that directory, it will create actually a XML which contains the failed test cases. Go and find out. You will find out
in the report folder itself.
Yeah, there are, yeah, in the report folder.
If we add some screenshot code, then screenshot will also come out.
Yeah, and you will see there are two TestNG output TestNG file are created. One is TestNG XML file which you are running, means all the test cases, and it also creates by default TestNG file for rerun, and that is called, which include the failed test cases. If you want to write a code to run that particular, you can run it. Are you getting my point? Means what happens? You have a TestNG XML file which contains 100 test cases. Getting my point? And when you are out of 100 test cases, suppose 30 test cases are failed. So in your directory, there is a failed test case TestNG file XML also generated. You want to run it manually? Next time, don't run your actually TestNG XML file. Pick that failed TestNG XML file, right click on it, and it will run only failed. You want to handle it with the help of automation, then automation also do the same thing with the help of iListener. They actually run the same TestNG failed one. Getting my point? So manually also you can achieve. And what else they have asked?
Assertion was you said, and yeah, TestNG, and they even the failed you told. Yeah, they asked me to write some codes, mouse actions, mouse hover codes.
Mouse hover code. Actually,
so mouse over and select.
Select. Okay.
Mouse hover was there. Mouse, how you will handle mouse, that was there. This was the thing they asked, and I have written the syntax it was okay. Double click and right click with the same, I need to edit and write.
Yeah.
And there was an option. So you know, drop downs. So drop downs they have asked. So I have written the syntax. It was well and good according to them. But again, okay, you acha. Then how you will select? So I said select by value, select by visible text, select by index is there. So they said that I'm having a set of 5. Next time when I'm having, it will be like it will be 10. How you will capture?
No, I
Drop
didn't
down
get
list.
in the
Drop down
document.
list is, so
Mhm.
it's is like one time it is 5 and another time like it's updated or something. Drop downs the list of items which are there 5. Next time it is it is a dynamic, it's changing, I think, like that.
Okay, so in that case, I'm getting the point what they are want to ask. In the select class, there is also a function that is called get options, get all options. Are you getting the point? So what happens that when you call this, whenever you want to select a particular option, like you want to select by index, select by visible text, select by value. So in that case, you should know the value, right? Index you have to pass, value you have to pass, visible text you have to pass. If you are not aware of that, they want to ask that how you will find that how many values are there. You don't know at that they are not static, they are coming at runtime. Are you getting my point? So in that case, select contains a function that is called get options, and the you can say type of that get option is actually a list. So when you call get options, it will return a list, and when you iterate that list one by one, it will give you the one by one each and every option. You can print it, you can store it, so it will show you every option. Okay, so today do one thing, just whenever you will try to create object of select, just check there are other options, other functions also get options. And when you will make a loop on that get options, you will get each and every. So it doesn't matter at runtime it is giving 2, 10, 20 or 20 lakh.
Okay. Oh,
So
yeah, get
every option,
option.
so get option will give you all the options which is available in that topic. Yeah.
They asked about how you pass the element, so it was okay, but I made a mistake that send keys. I have written the syntax, but send keys I have written in like I have written the case was not then they were like in doubt. They were just you use every day and you don't know the syntax. So I said that in the editor itself we have that auto correct option. So it is there. No, you should know. I'm giving three chances they have done, and I was doing the combinations and permutation, but it was not exact
That's
syntax they want.
that's why in my each and every live session I always try to encourage everybody, please revise the session, please write your own code. I always try to, and in every session in the next session, in live session, I say, have you revised the session, you want to ask anything? But people simply do one thing, oh, just watch the recording of Pradeep and you'll get each and everything. No, you have to practice, you will see so many, because the thing is that we cannot, that is the fact, we can not only me, any person who is teaching or any person who is guiding, he cannot tell you each and everything. He can guide you, the rest of the
Yes.
things you have to explore. Like somebody is giving that select is a class, so you have used select by index, select by values. You should click on dot and see what other functions are there. Can I use it? Maybe you can use it. So the person should be explored. Okay, so in this way, so you can actually, you can say the person can learn so much, many things. Still I'm saying that I'm working on the automation from a long time. This is still recently I learned few things in my automation, because the thing is that every time in the new version you are getting new classes of Java, they are providing new functions. When you use it, then you understand it. Okay, and when you frequently use it, what happens that you will keep reminding the syntax of that. I know that syntax is not so much important. Reason is that when you are clear and when you are working on the editor, you can write the code. But interviewers saying that no, 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 you have to write the code. You can't say no, no, I don't know, because
I
they.
have written, but only the fact is send keys was there. S was a small, and K was also in small alphabet, and they were, you don't know, like you use every day, you please correct it like that. And then I have tried S capital K small, then is it correct, are you sure? Then I have used K like that, it was
But trust me, but I'm sure that they are not going to judge on the basis of that. They are not going to take decision on the basis of that whether you have given the correct name of the function sent is something like that. Because the thing is that That is the usual thing, that when you are using the ID, you are actually most of the things are actually taken care by the ID. So you don't focus on that. You click on dot, you get send send, you press the enter.
What
You press the enter, send key is already written there. So they don't take the decision on the basis of that, but they take the decision that whether what thing we can achieve, and how. That is the important. Syntax is the secondary one. Okay.
Okay. So send keys was there from the Selenium, and I said you were the send action and all classes were there. So, and they asked about the project structure, even what is my role, how I contribute. Project structure means full structure from like if I'm saying hybrid framework, then I need to say how it is. So that is there. And what's your contribution towards the automation? How much you automate every day? This was there. Then how much automation, like how frequent you run regression suite. So that was there. Then it was reporting. Have you used Jenkins? So I said I am having an idea. It's for UI. So like when they said, then why it is used? Why people will use Jenkins instead of that extend report? How if the extend report is already there? So what is the purpose? So this was there. And I have even said that they asked, are you aware of the BBD? So I said, yeah, I'm having idea. So when idea, I said that I'm learning right now. So again, they gone over there and they asked why we will use Cucumber instead of Selenium. Why? So why? What's the benefit of using Cucumber BDD in in spite of Selenium?
They have just asked each and everything whatever they can ask. Okay, they were waiting for you, that you will come and they will ask each and everything to you.
So
yeah,
it was there. Then sir, page objects and page repository. This one also there. Page object and page repository. So both the things. Page repository, I said that it's a object base, and why? What's space factory and what is like, which one is more like we can use only, which is more beneficial, only page object or page factory, or both can be used in one project. So that was there. And Cucumber, they have asked the feature files, about feature files. If you want to pass the any examples, how you will do test data in that Cucumber feature file. So I have still written the syntax, example syntax.
So you have gone through with the part of Cucumber.
But yeah.
Yeah.
No, earlier I have did, but they were expecting more on the Cucumber side.
Okay, so
runner class is there. Why it's used? Runner is there. Then yeah, runner they were asking. It's a very basic thing they said. But
yeah,
runner hooks.
Yeah, so basically you will see that whenever the main question, which usually I also asked with the, you can say, candidates when I take the interview, that what is Cucumber actually and what is the use of Cucumber. It is not mandatory that you should use the Cucumber in your framework, but what is the advantage, I will tell you. You can explain this way, and that is good one. What happens that, take the example, in your team, you write your test cases in a particular file, right? Just think about that. You have a team where you are writing your manual test case. So you write a manual test case in file, like example in the Excel, where you define name of the test case, steps of the test case, test data, everything you define in the Excel. Yes or no? Great. Now the thing is that in the automation Selenium, you are going to write a function against that. Yes or no? Right? Now the thing is that a person who want to get the detail, okay, where this function is, this particular, take the example, you have written a steps of login test case in the Excel file. Okay, manual part is there. In the automation function, you have written a function validate login, and you have written all the steps there. Getting my point? But they are
in the keyword driven.
Not in the keyword, in simple page object model, you created a you can say in the TestNG, you created @test validate login function. Now you are going to write a step there, driver.find element, find username, send keys, password, send keys. login button, click. So you are writing this thing in the form of technical. You are writing a code, driver.find element. You are not writing something like that. Step 1 is that find username field, find password field, enter username. So this is the, you can say this is the human readable form. So you are this human readable format you are writing in the Excel. So actually you can say your manual steps are written in the Excel and your actual automation is written in the Java file of Selenium. So these two things are actually separated. Yes or no? So now you can do, with the help of Cucumber, you can actually merge these two things. You can make an integration between these 2 points in the same automation framework. Are you getting my point? So you can say in that case, you need a particular concept that, okay, I will write my test cases in the manual form, but when I will run these test cases, it actually indirectly run the
I've said, I think I've said
that function.
Human readable, the client can understand.
Yes. So now the client you don't need to share the manual test case Excel file. You will say this is framework. He will just open the file that is called feature file. In the feature file, the test cases are written in the human readable format. And when you right click on try to run this feature file, actually indirectly behind the scene, it run the Selenium automation. So at any point of time, you can say it is just like abstraction. Cucumber is also just like abstraction. From an end user perspective, who want to read or run the test case, he will actually focus on the feature file.
So sir, in UI, so whatever, if I'm saying I'm having a hybrid frame, so TestNG.xml, from there I will run. Then I'm having a page object folder where I will have all the page objects. Then I'm having test where I have all the test steps, test cases, and I have test data where it's Excel. So between that framework only, if I'll make another file like feature.xml, so that is also like combined and it can be kept in Cucumber.
Yes, you can say Cucumber is something like that is integrated into the existing framework also. Means
so it is like something we will add a Maven dependency, Cucumber dependency over there. And that.
Yes, and when you will add the Maven dependency of Cucumber, it will download the jars which will execute all the test cases, right, related to the Cucumber. Now what happens when you will create a feature file? Now by default you have to map the feature file with that Selenium test cases. And what it is going to do in that case, a class which comes into the picture, that is called runner. You have recently used the term runner. Actually, when you run the runner class execute the feature file, and feature file behind the scene execute the test cases. So it is actually a little bit complicated, but at the end, for an end user who want to see the test cases in the manual format as well as want to run, that is the easy. So it is in simple say what you can say, when you want to do the two things together, like manual test cases as well as automation test cases at the same place, so that a manual guy who can easily read it in the, you can say non-technical guy can read it and run it. So you use the Cucumber. So that's why Cucumber actually use a particular language that is called Zirkin. Okay, so in Zirkin, so whatever they also use a syntax like there are syntaxes like they use the concept of then, when, something
when,
like
given,
that. So that is given, when, then, and there so scenarios are there. So these all things are actually written in the format of Cucumber BDD, and that is called Zirkin. So actually,
I've said, sir, given, when, then I have said. Then they added with that, but and or is also possible.
so they can, I'm saying that they can ask you so many things, like in the Cucumber also, how you can make a parameterization. Because the thing is that whenever you are running your test case from the Cucumber, now in the TestNG you are passing the parameter from the TestNG XML, right? But in the same function, you have written the same parameterized function in your Java code, and now you have to call it from the Cucumber. So from the Cucumber feature file, you have to pass the parameter. For that purpose, you have to again use a syntax. So that is, you can say, a very, very big thing. And the thing is that it totally depends on that how much you have live experience in the Cucumber. So, but the thing is that if you have the basic concept, why we should use the Cucumber, what is the basic syntax, what is the feature file, what is the runner, how we do the mapping, actually anybody can start from that. But these things should be clear. I'm not expecting, in my interview, I never expect that everybody will be, if he or she has not worked on that, he will be expecting on that. But he should know or she should know what is the purpose of BDD, what is the components are there, and he can start with the Cucumber. Maybe when he is going to get a live experience, he can learn so many things. Okay. Okay. So the page.
So at the same time, sir, Sir,
Yeah.
when we are presenting the extent report, that is also to readable. We are giving them to like share with the team, with the
No,
client
no,
who
no,
can
no,
read and
no.
see the report.
Yes,
So
yes, yes, yes. But you are asking this question related to the Jenkins, right?
no, I'm asking Jenkins. Yeah, Jenkins or just extent report, whatever it is, they can read. So what's the use of using Cucumber and then having this?
No, 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 no. Actually, whatever you asked the previous question, that was the valid one. That if you have an extend report, very good report, then why use the Jenkins? Because what happens with the help of Jenkins also, actually we run our automation. We trigger our automation. Okay, you can take the example. Whenever you have automated your test case, how you run it? You run it using the Eclipse. Using the Eclipse.
TestNG, run as TestNG.
Run as TestNG you are doing, but at the time you open the project in your machine, right? On the Eclipse, you open the project and then right click.
Yes.
Then just think about that. Your client is a non-technical guy. What you will say, sir, can you open the Eclipse? Can you set up the project? Then find the TestNG file, right click on run it. He will say, I am a non-technical guy. So in that case, Jenkins is going to help you. Jenkins is actually called a build trigger tool. That is called build trigger tool. It means what happens that whatever object automation project you have created, you can just configure that project in Jenkins portal. It is just like a configuration. And after that, Jenkins actually in the Jenkins portal, the client has to just log in, and there is a, you can say there is a name of the project. He will click on the name of the project, what he want to run, and there is a button build now. It is something like that. You are just saying that a non-technical guy, click on this button and your automation will run. So that is Jenkins is actually something like that. A non-technical guy who's interested to run the automation. He don't need to get the information. What is Java? What is Eclipse? What is compilation? What is testing? No, I simply click on button. It is something like that. In your home, you are interested to switch on the light. You are not interested how circuit are combined, how the electricity is flow. You simply click on a button and light opens. So it is something like that. So Jenkins is used for that purpose. Some other benefits of Jenkins are also like take the example, whenever you want to run your automation in the Eclipse, you have to present in front of the machine, right? In the Jenkins, you have to option that you can schedule it. Schedule means you can configure the project in the Jenkins and tell that I want to run every Sunday at night, every Sunday at 8. You have to configure it only once. And what happens? Automatically, when the time will come, automatically this will be triggered and your automation will run. So scheduling is one of the main aspect of that. Okay, scheduling aspect, non-technical guy can run. Same thing, because it is a web portal, so it can be accessed from anywhere, right? Because it is a web portal, something like a web application. So the person who have access, he can access it all over from all over the world, anywhere from the globe, he can access it, right? You have to just provide the credential of access. That is the, you can say, other part. So, and the other thing is that other thing is also you can include the reporting. You want to get the reporting itself in the Jenkins, so you can attach the listeners also. TestNG listener you can attach in the, if you have not attached the listener in your project, you can attach the listeners in your Jenkins also. And that is not something like the Java coding. These are something like a setting. So you can use this. So many
Jenkins
plugins are
for reporting purpose, easy reporting purpose, and for what you said.
No, I'm saying that
I
want to say the purpose is that when your automation will run on Jenkins, it will create a extend report, but that will be saved in a folder. Okay, but when you use this plugin of TestNG of reporting purpose, what will happen after running the test case itself in the dashboard of the Jenkins? It will show the report graph, and that is very, very good. So that you can achieve. So means you can say in short, you can say Jenkins have so many benefits that a non-technical guy can run it, easily run it, and from anywhere run it. So that is the thing. And one question will ask me that we can use the page factory. That page factory is very, very useful to, you can say, to reduce the number of code. And they use the concept of initialization. But the thing is that sometimes it is not, you can say, good. So that's why they ask, this question is very, very good, that 99% you will say people use both, the combination of both, like page object model, page repository concept, as well as page factory. So every time page factory is not useful. Sometimes it creates a problem. And that is the scenario. Sometimes in the, you can say in the Ajax scenario, I cannot tell the exact, you can say example, because it will take some time. Otherwise, you can say page factories, you can say used where you know that all the elements which are loaded at the time of initialization. First time load, when the application is loaded, all the elements are loaded and you want to initialize it, then you use the concept of page factory. And when this type scenario is not perfectly matched with your application, you should go with the page repository. So actually you should use the concept of both the two things. Okay. Okay, now, yeah, tell me.
So that's why I'm saying this. It was like asked for 1 hour. Within 1 hour, it will be complete. It took around 2 hours of mine. So, and you were explaining that's why it's getting extended, but they were only shooting the question and they were not saying even it's right.
No, that is my way of every time I'm not actually, I have taken so many interviews. At that time, I was not allowed to make the recording of that because you can't make a recording in the company for their interviews. I was the part of the headstrong. So, but every time this is my way of, you can say, taking the interview, that whenever you are asking somebody, so you should not only give the questions, you should actually put the answer. Reason is that maybe the thing is that if the person is trying to give the answer, you can easily judge that a person has made so much effort to crack the interview. He has so much effort in his or her daily life. He's trying to learn so many things, but it is not 100% sure that every place in the internet you will get the right thing. You will see, you can go and check. Most of the places you can see, you will say that they have given the wrong explanation. So the thing is that it is the responsibility. I'm not saying that it is my own opinion. Maybe that is not applicable for each and every interviewer. But the thing is that whenever you are trying to ask some question and you are getting some answer that the person is trying to give the answer, and you are thinking, yeah, she has tried well, but still she is not going into the right direction. Actually, you should explain it. So what happens that when the person will not be clear the interview, but still he will really appreciate the interview. The reason is that maybe he has not, or she has not cleared the interview, but he or she had learned something new from that. Yes or no?
That's what.
So that's the good
maybe
thing
they are having in a day, they are having 5 to 6 interviews. They need to go out. So, sir, one question was, instead of send keys, what is the other way you can send? So I have read once that was JavaScript executor concept.
Yeah,
that
so
I read once.
Yes, yeah. So actually, the people usually give the answer this is possible using the JavaScript executor. Actually, JavaScript executor is a way to execute the JavaScript code in your automation. Actually, the exact answer is that it is possible with the help of JavaScript code. It is possible with the help of JavaScript code. Means with the help of JavaScript code, you can make changes in the elements. Actually, these elements, web element, or sometimes people call it DOM. In DOM, you have so many elements. Like you have a text field. You don't need to write send keys. If you want to write something in that, you can put some text and something like that. You have to put something code in the inner HTML part. Are you getting my point? In the HTML, you are trying to put some code, and that is possible. So many things are there. Like one JavaScript, that is that document.element.inner HTML equal to. So when you write this code, inner HTML dot equal to any text, by default, it will be set into that text field. Now the question is that how you run this code, because it is JavaScript code. For that purpose, you need JavaScript executor. So in JavaScript executor execute function, you pass this JavaScript, and that is executed by Selenium. So JavaScript executor is actually mediator to run the JavaScript code in your Selenium.
Okay, if I use any JavaScript.
Yes. So anything, maybe this is one scenario. Suppose take the example, you have to open a new window in your automation. Due to some reason, you have to open a window. So opening a new window, there is no function in Selenium that you can open a window. Somebody will say that there is an opening. How? You have a shortcut key. How you open a new tab, Control T, something like that. You can use those things in your automation. But if you really want to open a window in the Java script, there is a code that is called document.window.open. Are you getting my point? So this is JavaScript. How you can run this code in your Selenium? JavaScript executor is a mediator. In JavaScript executor, execute function, just pass this code and he will execute it and will open a window. So indirectly, you can say JavaScript executor is a mediator, and whatever you want to achieve, you can achieve with the help of JavaScript. Just pass this code in the JavaScript executor function.
Sir, without using WebDriver is equal to new Chrome driver, what is another way we can do?
Means I didn't get you. Means
we can use. Is there any other way? That when I said how you open a browser, how you open a Chrome browser. So I said web browser. WebDriver is equal to new Chrome driver. Is it any alternative way?
I told you that initially, first of all, I told you the thing is that you should open a browser in this way. Are you getting my point? Second is that actually whenever you are opening a browser, you can open the browser with the help of JavaScript also. Second thing is that you have already opened a browser, and same thing, you want to open a new browser or you want to open a new tab, you can use the shortcut keys. So how you run the shortcut keys? You can pass the shortcut keys in your send keys as well as with the help of action classes. So using shortcut keys also you can open the browser.
In Selenium?
Yes.
Or okay. So I gave driver is equal to new program driver, we can write.
No, that is actually because he's asking that when you have to open a browser. So the basically the thing is that you can open a browser Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver. But instead of creating the reference of Chrome driver, instead of creating the reference of Chrome driver, if you want to do, you can just use another thing that is called web driver equal to new Chrome driver. If he is satisfied with the answer, that is okay. If he is not satisfied, it means he want to ask that how you can open a browser without using the, you can say, Selenium. So how a person can open a browser in, you can say, in JavaScript, that we can run.
So that is from the Selenium. Then Cucumber I have said. APIs was there. API was general put and patch difference. So I was knowing, yeah, that put is for update and patch is updating the all parameters, and patch is for updating some
person.
Yeah. So then it was having methods, HTTP methods you use. So that 4 method, get, put, post, delete, yeah, this one. And then authorizations. How do you handle authorization in APIs? You use authorization. It was there. And then difference between JSON parameter and variable parameter, something was like that. Okay. I'm not then different status codes, different 404, 403, 501, 503, like that it was. And how you validate the like I said that in like for DB I have used API with, like, I have did the validation. So backend you did anything they asked. So I said I have did whatever the response which was I was getting in API, I was validating with the DB. So DB, how much okay you are, again rate yourself, and then they not gone to very much, but yeah, they asked basic things on, like, what are the, like, they asked basic sir, how to, like, if you want to select first 3 characters of name in an employee table.
Okay, so you know that you in your SQL in your SQL queries you can also use, there are some functions also available, you know that in SQL also you have functions are there. So okay, so they want to ask some.
So that was there, and yeah, DB, that's it.
So other than that, anything else they ask?
So that's what I can remember. Yeah, they didn't left me till last. Yes. No, it's okay.
It's okay. Okay, thank you, Monika, for sharing your experience with your company interviews, and it will be helpful for everybody. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.